Well, hello. My name is Dave Brown. I'm with Christians for Common Sense. I have a degree in Homeland Security, terrorism, primarily in the area of cyber. Also have a certified from FEMA as an emergency manager. So I've been educational-wise right up there. I've also been in the Watts riots, Dominican Republic riots. I've been in 2 floods, one in Texas and Houston and Baton Rouge. So I've seen natural disasters, I've seen rioting, I've been in the Vietnam War. So what I hope to do is to bring some of that information to you. Not to pat myself on the head, but just to let you know that I just didn't read a couple of books and then all of a sudden say, well, I'm an expert in what I'm about to tell you. So I've made a couple of little notes here. And this is to continue with volume 2 of how to prepare yourself. How to make a plan so that whatever you meet, you can, have a better chance of surviving. Now, being an emergency manager, Homeland Security, one of the first things that we look at is our threats. You have to know what the threat is to either know how to stop it or how to mitigate it. And that is the thing that in all my years of helping people with their family preparedness that people don't do. They have no idea in the Man in the Moon what they're preparing for. They just know that I've got to have a food storage program. And they think by having 2 cases of jars full of food, that's going to be enough. Well, it's not enough. And I don't mean to discourage you in not doing that, but we're looking at, 3-4 years if this thing goes down the way that prophecy says it will. So, and then you have people that says, well, I've got a backpack in my car. They went down to Walmart and they bought 25, 30 different things off the wall that just at random and without a plan. They have no idea what possibly or could happen. So I don't want that to happen to you. I want to help you to be able to understand the threats and plan for them, rather than just helter-skelter go down to Walmart and buying a bunch of stuff that you may not or may not ever use and have no idea what the threat is. So that's what I hope to help you to do or to understand. You have got to make a plan. You have got to analyze your threats. What could happen? And then after you kind of get an idea of what the threats are, then put how likely is it to happen, and then plan a little heavy on those that you think might seriously happen. Here in the state where I live, one of the greatest threats that we have is earthquakes. Well, it's a high ratio. Possibly that natural disasters, earthquake, maybe a fire, things of that nature, that on a natural basis is pretty high on the list. However, then you have the civil disturbances. That is high on the list as well, as you've seen throughout the last year or so, with all of these radical, idiots running through the streets, busting up people's, businesses and windows, and then camping out in Seattle. And, one guy died, how many people were raped and so forth and so on. It's just civil disobedience to the max. I mean, it's just rioting and anarchy. And governors and city mayors and stuff just allow it to happen. So that to me is a real possibility if you live in the city. So in your planning, what is it? What are the threats? Sit down and think about it. And just write all of them down. And because some of them could cross-reference with the preparation that you're going to make, it would be good for just about anything. So, in what we're talking about, And in your planning, you need food, water, shelter, and safety. Those four things. So make a list of food, water, shelter, and safety. How are you going to prepare for those things? And then you need to ask yourself, am I going to stay or am I going to run? So, for example, if you're home, are we going to stay or do we need to leave the area? So the second part of it is, if you're in a business, it's the same scenario. Do you stay in the business area, the apartment, or do you need to run? And how do you need to run? So all of those things are important to understand. And so make that list. You need food, water, shelter, and safety. And then you need to figure out in your plan, do I need to run or do I need to stay? So let's talk about just those kind of things. In our first discussion, we talked about dad is working somewhere in the city possibly in a high rise or whatever. Mom is teaching school across the other part of the town. The kids are in school and everybody is split up. This is why it is so critically important to plan, so that you have a place to meet up. You have a plan that you know, if you can't have a telephone, that you know where the other person is going to be, where the children are going to be. And we're going to go into what needs to happen with the children if they go down into lockdown. Now, mom's in a school and she might be in a lockdown as well. But what does dad need? Probably the same basic kind of thinking for mom. I saw a thing on Facebook where this lady went down to Walmart and bought 25 different items and stuff just off the shelf with no comprehension of what it is that she's trying to accomplish. She just bought a bunch of stuff off the shelf and put them in a bag and said, I'm prepared. No, you're not. You're not even close, because you have no idea what's coming. So if we have a riot or if we have an earthquake, we have something that's going on while you are in your place of work, what is it you want to do? You want to stay, you want to run. You got to make that decision at that time. You can plan for each. You have to plan for each of those, either staying or running, but you need to plan for them and then decide at the time of the situation, do I stay? Do I only stay for maybe a day or two in the office and then have to walk home? Plan on the worst scenario is your car could be in a parking garage and it collapsed on top of the car. You can't even get to your supply stuff. Think about that. Do we have a second supply in the office under your desk? Or if you have a regular office, maybe you have room to put a backpack in there where it's physically touchable. That if you had to run within 5 minutes or less, you can just grab it and go. The other part of it is that if you're in a office complex and you're on the floor and you're just in a cubicle with 100 other people, you may not have that opportunity to store a backpack. Maybe you can. The other thing is if you're in a business a situation, office space, do you contact the people who are running the office and say, we need to prepare. We need to prepare for a lone shooter, an active shooter right in the building. What do we do? What if we have to stay there because of an earthquake or rioting and so forth? Do you have water in sufficient quantities that if they happen to turn the electricity off or the water or whatever the purpose is, you still have some water to drink? So, think about it, make the plan. So if you have a backpack, some of the things that you'll need in that backpack is a complete change of clothing. So if you had to run, do you run? What type of clothing do you need? You need to stay basically incognito. That's the best way to stay out on the street. If it's a riot, you want to stay on the outskirts of that riot. You don't want to stay in the middle of it because you can't diverse. If you're on the outskirts and things are happening, you can take a side street very quickly and just disappear. But you need to be incognito. You don't need to draw attention to yourself in any way, shape, or form. So, change of clothes. You need food. You'll need water. You'll need things of safety. And I'm not saying that you need to carry a gun. I'm saying is that there's enough pepper spray out there that you could stick one or two of them in your backpack. You need, so the best part about being safe is being incognito, not being seen. And then you may have to have, maybe, if you're in a not so big a city, maybe there's a little place of refuge that you could talk to somebody and that you could leave the city but yet get to a place where it's a place of safety, another home, another friend, and have him prepared. Maybe you'd stay at the friend's house for a while. So plan your plan, work your plan, and then see to it that you understand that plan and that everybody in the family knows where you're going to be at a certain basic time, because there's going to be an awful lot of stress. Your children are going to be stressed out. You're going to be stressed out. You're not going to be thinking real well, but if you have a plan to rely on, stress is not so bad because you know where you're going. So those are the things that I really want you to pay attention to. And I could plan it step by step, but you're the one that's got to plan it. You got to have to work it. Okay? So we cover those sections. And that's section 2. In section 3, we'll touch on what to do with the kids. The kids are in school, dispersed, far apart, things of that nature. So what do we do with the kids that are in lockdown in a school? And what is mom going to do? So you need to determine whether you're going to stay or run. This is Dave Brown. Please join my video, subscribe, take a look at my books, go to Amazon. David E. Brown, Are You Ready is the name of the book. And I cover all these things within the book as well. And it is our duty not only to protect ourselves, but this would be a wonderful Christmas gift at this point in time in which you could offer advice and instruction and help to your kids, your friends, and your family throughout the United States, wherever they might be. Because it's going to be really tough in the big cities. So, thank you for being here. I hope I have possibly inspired you, but given you some basic concepts that you need to know the threats and you need to plan for them. All right. Take care. Thanks an awful lot for watching. Bye.